Hello there everyone, it's Carol again. Nice to see you here again. So in Mindful Monday, these are the sheets that I made to have as my spares, and I'm going to make some notebooks out of them. So I'm just going to go through the process with you of how I'm going to go about making them. So I'm going to clear my decks and get set up. So taking my first sheet, I'm just going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to cut along that fold because that gives me a nice straight edge to follow, and I'm just going to trim off the very edge. Of course you can do this on your paper trimmer if you want, but it's just to save me getting my paper trimmer out. So as you can see, just a real thin sliver. So I've now got my two pieces, so I'll be able to make two separate notebooks out of these, and I'm just going to fold it in half now the other way to make it into the booklet cover and decide which way around I want it. Yeah, that way. Okay, then I'm going to take some seam binding, and this is some that I've already dyed up. Want an end. There we go, there's an end. Now at the front, what will be the front, I'm just going to put a short piece on, and I'm going to fold it in half and stick it on the end there so that the loose edges are on the inside and the loop will be on the outside. I don't want too much of the loop overhanging over the edge over here, and so I'm going to put some glue on. And then I'm going to put some micropore over the top. And before anyone asks me, if you've not seen the video, I get asked a lot what this is, and it's micropore, and I have done a video on it. Right, in case you can't understand my accent, it's micropore. Okay, then on this side, I'm going to get a length, that's maybe too much, a length of seam binding, probably about 1/2 metre. And this time I'm going to put the folded edge on the inside. So try and line it up. And then that will sit on there. And again, I'll put some micropore over the top to help to secure it in place. And I've got some coffee dyed card that I'm going to line the inside of the cover. But I'm going to leave a very thin border around. So I'm just going to mark where I'm going to cut it. And I want this to be a fairly quick project. I don't want it to be anything that's going to take me hours to do. And then I can place glue around the edge. And across the middle. I'm also going to put glue over that central spine area to make sure that it's got a good adhesion where the spine is, because it's going to be open and closed. it puts pressure on the paper to lift up. So then I'll sit that on top of there. Now if I wanted to, once this glue was dried, this would then be the point where I would then stitch around all 4 sides on the same machine. So I'll go off and do that, and I'll see you back here in a second. I've now stitched around the outside edge with some straight stitch and some zigzag, and I've also cut up some coffee dyed paper, and I've done 5 sheets that fit comfortably inside the booklet. Now I've got these lovely pages from a book that I own, so I'm going to add a couple of these too. So I was going to go 1, 2, and then add one of those, and then 1, 2, and add another one of those. Just make sure they're in the right spot in the middle. And then I'm just going to use some binder clips to hold them all in place. For those of you that are afraid of sewing, and I know a couple of people who haven't had a go at doing this yet, you really should give it a go, because it's not that difficult, and maybe this is an ideal project for you to have a go at. Now I've just bent it slightly in half to find out where the centre line is there, but I'm going to try and keep it flat. And I'm going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, so I'm going to put one in the centre, and my fingers are splayed like that on the back so that I don't pierce myself. And then I'm going to do one at the top, about 3/4 of an inch down from the top, and one at the bottom, again about 3/4 of an inch-ish. I'm not into measuring. Okay, so I've now got my 3 holes there, but what I'm actually going to do is, instead of start stitching from the inside, I'm actually going to start stitching from the outside. So I'm going to go through that centre hole, and then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to go down there in that top hole, and then I'm going to come back up in the middle. So if I turn it over, I can see where I'm putting my needle and pull it in tight. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom hole, and then I'm going to turn it over to the front. Now what I'm then going to do, and I don't know whether, maybe if I do it close up you'll see. So this was that top stitch, that first one that I did. So I'm just going to slip my needle underneath that first stitch, so it's now hooked around it, and then I can tie it off with a double knot. I can take a charm and add it to the outside, and again just do a double knot to hold that in place. trim off the excess thread, unclip it, so I've got a little charm on the spine there. Just trim those threads down a little bit. And then on the loose ends of the seam binding here, I've just added a knot. I've just put a knot on the end. Okay, and then what I would do is put one of the seam binding knots through that loop. And then I can tie the two pieces together. And I can form a bow with that if I want to. You may remember in a scrap busting video I punched out a load of label shapes. So let me just find which one I want. That could look quite nice on there. So I'm going to ink up the edges. Just to be able to define it, because it did look a little bit lost on its own, but if I put the vintage photo, walnut stain around the edge, it will separate it from the front cover. And then I'll just poke a hole in the end there and opposite. And I've got two brads, so I'll just put the brads in. And then I'm going to open them up, but what I'm going to do is, instead of opening them flat, I'm actually going to open them up and push them to be at an angle. Now I could also trim off the excess of those prongs. So again, just open it up and then force the prongs to go off at angles. Okay, can you see how I've done that? And then on the front, I'm just going to get the back of my scissors and just push it down a little to flatten it. And then put some glossy accents on, because I do like putting glossy accents on the metal. I think it's a strong enough glue to hold the metal. And then that can sit on the front there, and I would need to leave that for a little while for that glue to go off. So I'll just show you what the inside now looks like. So we've got a couple of coffee dyed pages, and then we've got that pretty floral book page, and then another couple of coffee dyed pages, and again some more of the book page. In fact, I just need to trim that down a little. So a little bit of the white is still showing. There we go. Same on that one. And the pictorial pages are only to add a little bit of interest to the booklet. And then the other thing that I can then do on the inside So I printed off loads of these journaling cards, which were a freebie, but I can't remember whose they were. Let's have a look. Oh, that one would be quite nice. Maybe that one at the back. Again, I'll just ink the edges of this up. And that one. And then I can place glue around the 3 sides to give me a pocket. So if anyone was putting this in the handbag, they've probably got then somewhere to put receipts. And then we'll put one on the back of cover as well. So then you could put something inside that pocket there. And the loop could also act as a place where you could actually put a pen in there as well. So that's my little faux handmade paper notebook. Quite cute and quite quick to do. So yeah, and then of course you could put a label on there, you know, a word notebook or journal or shopping lists, you know. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to go off and go make some more. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.